A bad wife. Tom had always prided himself on being a good husband. He worked long hours to provide for his family, always making sure there was food on the table and a roof over their heads. He didn't expect much in return, just a little gratitude. A smile when he walked through the door. Or a simple thank you once in a while. But with Claire, that seemed too much to ask. Claire was a woman of expensive tastes and insatiable desires. She had come from a modest background but quickly adopted a lifestyle beyond their means. The designer handbags, lavish vacations, and constant dining out had drained their savings. And Tom's attempts to curb her spending only met with resentment. One evening, after another exhausting day at work, Tom returned home to find Claire in the living room, surrounded by shopping bags. The house was a mess, and their young daughter was crying upstairs. He sighed as he dropped his briefcase by the door, hoping for a quiet evening. "More shopping, Claire?" he asked gently, masking his frustration. "Don't start with me, Tom," she snapped, not bothering to look up from her phone. "You work all day, and I have to entertain myself somehow. What do you expect me to do?" "I expect you to take care of our home. Maybe spend time with our daughter," Tom replied, trying to keep his voice calm. "I'm not a maid," she said coldly. "And if you're so worried about money, maybe you should get a better job." Tom clenched his fists but said nothing. He loved Claire once, or at least the woman she used to be. But now he hardly recognized her. The constant demands, the belittling comments, the lack of appreciation. It was wearing him down. As the months passed, things only got worse. Claire's spending spiraled out of control, and the fights grew more frequent. She refused to change, convinced that her desires were more important than the family's well-being. One night, after another argument, Tom packed a small bag and left. He stayed with a friend for a few days, trying to clear his head. Claire didn't call, didn't text, nothing. It was as if she didn't care whether he came back or not. When he finally returned home, the house was eerily quiet. Claire was gone, and she had taken almost everything with her. On the kitchen counter was a note that read, "I need a man who can give me the life I deserve. You were never enough." Tom stood there, the weight of the years settling on him. He realized that no matter how much he had given, it would never have been enough for her. This type of story highlights the breakdown of a relationship due to selfishness, lack of appreciation, and misaligned values. Tom stood in the empty house, the silence echoing around him. For a moment, he felt a wave of relief. The constant tension, the endless arguments, the pressure to meet Claire's impossible expectations, it was all gone. But then came the pang of loss. Not just for the wife he had loved once, but for the life he had hoped to build. He wandered through the house, now stripped of its once vibrant energy. Claire had taken the furniture, the decorations, even the curtains. But there, in the corner of the living room, was their daughter Emily's small toy box, untouched. It was the only thing Claire hadn't claimed. Emily. Tom's heart sank. How could Claire have walked out so easily, leaving their child behind? He rushed upstairs to find Emily, still sound asleep in her bed. She was just 6, and too young to fully understand what had happened. Though he knew the cracks in their marriage hadn't gone unnoticed. He sat by her bedside, brushing a stray lock of hair from her forehead. "I'm sorry, sweetheart," he whispered. "I tried. I really did." The next few weeks were a blur of adjusting to his new reality. Claire didn't come back, and she didn't reach out for Emily either. She seemed to have disappeared entirely. Tom tried to balance work, caring for Emily, and processing the wreckage of his marriage. But through it all, a new sense of purpose began to grow. He wasn't just living for himself anymore. Emily needed him now more than ever. The days became a routine, and as time passed, Tom found solace in the small joys of fatherhood. Making breakfast for Emily in the morning, helping her with her schoolwork in the evenings, and tucking her in at night became the highlights of his day. Slowly, the pain of Claire's absence began to fade. One afternoon, about 6 months after Claire had left, there was a knock on the door. Tom opened it to find Claire standing there, looking as glamorous as ever. She wore a designer coat, her hair perfectly styled, and sunglasses perched on her head. "I've come to see Emily," she said flatly, as though nothing had changed. Tom stared at her for a moment, the anger rising in his chest. "You've come to see Emily? After 6 months with no word, no explanation, you just show up?" Claire shrugged, unfazed. "I've been busy. But she's my daughter. I have a right to see her." "Busy?" Tom's voice trembled with rage. "You abandoned her. You left everything behind without a second thought." Claire rolled her eyes. "You're being dramatic. I needed time to figure things out. But I'm ready to be a mother again." Tom shook his head in disbelief. "You don't just get to walk back in and pretend like nothing happened. Emily's doing fine without you." "I'm her mother, Tom," she said sharply. "You can't keep her from me." "I'm not keeping her from you, Claire," he replied, his voice steady now. "But you don't get to be in and out of her life when it's convenient for you." For the first time, Claire seemed to falter. She glanced past him into the house, maybe realizing how much had changed. "I made some mistakes," she said softly. "But I'm still her mother." Tom sighed. "She needs consistency. She needs to know who's going to be there for her, day in and day out. And that hasn't been you." Cue the intro of an exhilarating drama, straight to the beat. Here's a tale of nothing coming out of the blue, just like that. Claire sneaks a glance. "Hold up. Wait a moment." She whispers in her ear. "I want to express something esteemed, but I'm unable to." And then, without warning, she swiftly leaps away, leaving all in awe of her stealthy grace. Tom can't help but utter. It wraps up right there. Claire might be around, but we're solidifying something more robust now. It's a chic, snug home adorned with love, loyalty, and the strength we both deserve. Feeling thoroughly at peace with the future course? This isn't a tale of pure joy, but I'm certain you'll find it relatable. Introducing an exhilarating drama with a captivating plot, just like the beat of life itself. Here's a true story of anything taking an unexpected turn. It just happens. And Claire's definitely involved. Our protagonist, Claire, stealthily looks around, as if holding her breath and waiting for the perfect moment. But then, without warning or explanation, she leaps out of the blue, leaving everyone astonished by her brilliant stealthiness and agility. As if by design, Tom can't help but make a remark, exclaiming, "Claire, she might be around. But we're reaching for something more groundbreaking. It's a stylish, comfortably cozy home, rich with the love, loyalty, and strength we both need to navigate our journey. Feeling deeply content with the course of our future? It's not a story where everything is pure and bright. We know it has its mixed elements of joy, pain, and drama. But that's what makes it all the more relatable to the reader. Throughout this exciting tale, you'll find yourself not only deeply intrigued but also thoroughly enjoying the unexpected twists and turns that await you. Just remember, this isn't the story of pure joy, but what it does offer you is a gripping experience that showcases the journey of an extraordinary individual who finds the meaning of her life amidst the chaos.